Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask, Heidi. It is the weekend, so let's do the whole doggone thing. Saturday, the 27th of July, Bagpipe Appreciation Day, and I think we can all appreciate a good set of bagpipes. I never know if they're playing them right or not. Barbie in a Blender Day. What? That's not nice. Cross Atlantic Communication Day. National Creme Brulee Day. Oh,
Yum.
That's good stuff. I never had that till I married Heidi. She lived in the upper crust. I lived in the lower crust. So.
I had never had it until I married you because you ordered it.
Oh, okay. I thought it was you that was used to the finer things. Walk on Stilts Day today. Chicken Finger Day. See, now there's something more my speed right there. All of that happening on Saturday. Sunday, the 28th of July, Buffalo Soldiers Day, National Hamburger Day, Auntie's Day, National Parents Day, World Hepatitis Day, National Water Park Day, National Milk Chocolate Day. Looks like there's a lot of stuff. Anyway, it's a busy weekend. A lot of days going on. A lot of stuff happening this weekend. And I'm excited to have a guest. We have Lucy Walsh joining us. Her dad, Joe Walsh, was a rock star. She is an actress, and she's been in movies and TV shows, and she's the author of a new book. It's called Remember Me as Human. We'll chat with her in a bit. Charlie has Parkinson's. Recently, Charlie started wearing a bracelet from VitaTech Healing.
I'm an avid golfer, and I was going to give it up this year. I just deteriorated that much. Now I'm back to golfing, enjoying it, having a good time. I just can't stress enough how good it is.
Click on radiosavings.com to hear more of Charlie's story and find out how VitaTech Healing is helping others with ADHD, fibromyalgia, autism, and more. Plus, find radio-only savings by clicking the link at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com. Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by bettercreditcards.com. If your plan is to buff up for the beach this summer, you're almost out of time. According to a survey, the average person thinks it takes 6 weeks of new fitness regime before they can spot a physical difference. The good news is, once you've seen the results themselves, 54% say it's easier to maintain the routine. What do you think, Heidi?
I agree. Once you can actually see that things are changing.
Yeah, 2,000 people involved in this survey. They said the most common experience that makes people feel out of shape is running out of breath often, 49%, trying clothing on that no longer fits. All of my clothing seems to shrink. I don't know what's going on, 46%. In fact, 29% said they realized they were out of shape after not being able to walk up a flight of stairs without getting winded. So is that what it took for you? Boy, I've been there for years. No, I will tell you this. My wife and I have been losing weight, and the thing that's interesting is I've lost enough weight that some of my shorts with like elastic band waists, they don't work anymore. They fall off now.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing, but I should probably quit wearing them. At least that's what the lady at the hardware store told me.
You should definitely quit wearing them. I've told you that as well.
Surveys and studies and such brought to you by bettercreditcards.com.
It's rad. It's bad. It's 80s. The coolest rock vacation of the summer. Retromania Live. August 21st through 25th, the Mansion Theater. Starring Vince Neil, Bobby Brown, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Night Ranger, Tom Kiefer, Tiffany, Lou Graham, Pauly Shore, celebrity autograph signing, costume parties, and more. Single day tickets on sale now at RetromaniaLive.com. Produced by Branson Star Entertainment.
Did you know? Brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Heidi, did you know there's a reason that there's a hole in the pen cap? It's because it's a choking hazard without that hole.
I knew that.
In addition, to help prevent the pen from leaking, all of our Bic caps now have an international safety standard. It's an attempt to minimize the risk of a child accidentally inhaling the cap and then choking.
Or an adult.
Well, they say child, but it could be an adult. Yeah, some of these vented caps have a little hole in the top to comply with an existing safety standard as well. The Big Pen Company explains on their website. So there you go. We don't know everything, but now we know this.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by radiosavings.com. What do you know about Armie Hammer? Do you know much about him?
Not a thing.
So he was in the news in 2021 for some things that weren't so great. Now he's working on resurrecting his career. And one of the things that he says, he has to declare that I am not a cannibal. So that was part of the interview. I don't know that that's ever been part of an interview before. So, do you eat people? And he's like, no, I don't. This is blown out of proportion. I don't know exactly what led to people saying that.
I have no idea.
Do you remember that a couple years ago?
I don't even know who he is.
Yeah, he's an actor. But yeah, anyway. He says, I am not a cannibal. And a series of filming notices for And Just Like That, the continuation of the Sex and the City franchise, they're popping up all over the city of New York because there's a glaring problem. The notices are fake. So there are people who are like, oh, we're going to start hanging out here and we might be in these shows. So they're like, no, it's not. It's not even real. So they are working on it, but these are not filming location notices, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
Big screen, little screen, brought to you by radiosavings.com. Charlie has Parkinson's. He started wearing a bracelet from Vitatech Healing, and he's noticed a difference, even while sleeping.
Once I got in bed, I couldn't roll over. I couldn't move. I was just whatever position I was in, just a chore to get out of bed. And now everything is so much better.
Click on radiosavings.com to hear more of Charlie's story and find out how Vitatech Healing is helping others with ADHD, fibromyalgia, autism, and more. Plus, find radio-only savings by clicking the link at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com. Now your scoop of the day comes your way courtesy of bettercreditcards.com. The world of fantasy sports is more than just a bit of leisure time for some. For many, it's a passion, maybe even an obsession, but it can also be a problem. A study published in Simulation and Gaming warns that participating in fantasy soccer can be bad for your mental health.
Oh.
Researchers at Queen Mary University London found that players who were most heavily involved in fantasy soccer, it's kind of like fantasy football, that's what they call it in the UK, is fantasy football. They spent more time managing their teams, participating in leagues, and they had money riding on the outcomes. They reported the highest levels of positive mood and the most significant mental health concerns if their team didn't do well. So there's like major mood swings. They suggest many players' fantasy soccer could be a double-edged sword. It produces emotional highs, but it also has troubling lows. So they're saying that maybe this is something that you shouldn't do because it can be very dangerous for you.
Huh.
And a British startup may have just put an end to the big drawback of driving an electric car. The one waiting for a battery to charge. Nybolt developed a new 35 kWh, I don't know if that's kilowatt per hour, lithium-ion battery. Anyway, it was charged from 10% to 80% in 4.5 minutes.
Okay.
Compared to a 20-minute or so charge it would take for other cars to do anywhere even close to that, using the fast charger. It's comparable to 2 minutes it takes to fill up a gasoline-powered vehicle. The company says one key is their new battery's ability to be charged quickly. It's design that generates less heat and also makes them safer because overheating can cause other batteries to catch fire and explode. That's not a big selling point.
Recharging time is why I don't have one of those.
One that I thought was neat, there's a company that sells scooters and that you replace the entire battery. So you pull up to a thing kind of like the little propane swap.
Right. Yeah, I remember talking about that.
You pull the battery out, and you stick it in a thing, and you pull a different battery out, and it takes you like 2 minutes to change everything. I was like, well, that's kind of a neat idea.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Scoop of the day comes your way, courtesy of bettercreditcards.com.
Can your IRA or 401k stand up to the next financial crisis? By allocating a percentage of your retirement into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns. Safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Protect your retirement today with a simple phone call and receive your free gold and silver guide. Call 1-800-200-GOLD or visit genesisgoldira.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. Excited to visit with Lucy Walsh. You might remember her dad, Joe Walsh, very famous rock star. Lucy, you've got a new book out, Remember Me as Human. We're going to chat about that. But what was it like growing up with a rock star for a dad? That's got to be kind of weird.
Yeah, it was. It was interesting. You know, kids would bring magazines to school with juicy stories, and I'd take it home to my mom. My poor mom would have to answer all these questions for me.
And now you've stepped into the spotlight as well, and we're going to chat here about your book. I love the title, Remember Me as Human. And I think sometimes when people see these rock stars and celebrities, sometimes they forget that they're just people.
They really do. They really dehumanize not just famous people, but each other, for having different opinions, for being different from you, you know. And I stand for coming together and celebrating our humanity. And I think growing up in a famous family gave me the perfect learning ground to do that, because I really got to see the insides of fame and really see for myself that everybody's the same on a soul level. Nobody is any better than anybody else.
Lucy, you've had a chance to be a part of some great movies and TV shows and a lot of fun projects. What is the thing that people mention to you the most when you see people like out in the wild?
Yeah, I think people bring up Curb Your Enthusiasm the most.
I love that show. It is such a fun show, and your character on there was just amazing.
It's the best. I was so excited to be on the show because it's my favorite show. And it's kind of shot like with a handheld feel.
Yeah.
And so it was so strange to be face to face with Larry because I felt like I had just gone through the screen. It was so bizarre.
And as just a viewer, when I watch it, I always feel like I'm in the room with them, just the way they film that. And you actually got to be in the room with them.
I did. It was so hard to get words out because it was just such a bizarre experience.
and some of that is ad-lib, right? It's not all completely scripted. It's like kind of an ad-lib, if I understand correctly. Or maybe I'm wrong. Is that kind of how that's done?
No, you're right. I didn't get a script before I went to shoot. I knew what the scene was about, but that's all they gave me.
So everything you said, you brought to the table, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And there was a lot going on because there was a really funny storyline happening in my scene, and Salman Rushdie was in the scene.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it was great because I was really listening. I wasn't paying attention to anything else except just being in the moment, listening because I had to. And that's such an exciting experience as an actor when so much of our work is scripted.
Absolutely. Now, your book has been out since March. Let's talk about it. Remember Me as Human. What is this book all about?
Yeah, so it's been a long time coming. The book takes place in 2010. I interviewed my grandmother in her nursing home when she was 97 about her life and about World War II love letters that my grandfather Dale had given to her, had written to her during World War II. And she had given me those when I was 17. And then I didn't interview her until I was in my 30s. So it's been since I was 17. I didn't know I would write a book, but I had those letters and I wanted to make them into a film. So I started asking questions. And along that road, my grandfather died of Alzheimer's before I really got a chance to speak to him. And that really scared me because I saw all of his memories and his stories ripped away from him while he was still alive. And so I started asking questions of all my loved ones because I didn't know where Alzheimer's would strike next. And that ultimately led me to sitting down with my grandmother. And I'm so glad that I did for those 3 final days because she was dead 4 months later.
Yeah.
So that's my message to everyone who reads this is don't wait. Don't take each other for granted. Ask each other what you want to know. Get to know each other on deeper levels. And we need to be more curious about each other because that connection and that intimacy is what makes us human.
And think about this, the stories that your grandmother shared with you. If she hadn't shared those with you when she passed away, they would have been gone forever. But you got to not only hear the stories, but you got to document them in this book and share them with the world.
Exactly right, John. That's really the driving force behind how I feel about it. And I think it was a trauma response to the Alzheimer's because I decided that if I could just collect all of my loved ones' memories, that I could make them live forever and that Alzheimer's would never win again. I don't know if you've lost somebody that way, but,
Yes.
we all
Yeah.
are affected by that.
Yeah, and it's so hard to watch the memories drift away and then watch the person drift away. But, when the memories start drifting away, it's just so painful to watch that.
I know. It really is. It really is.
Lucy, thank you so much for your time today. Again, the book is called Remember Me as Human. I'm going to throw a link to the book in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. Charlie has Parkinson's. Recently, Charlie started wearing a bracelet from Vitatech Healing.
I'm an avid golfer, and I was going to give it up this year. I just deteriorated that much. Now I'm back to golfing, enjoying it, having a good time. I just can't stress enough how good it is.
Click on radiosavings.com to hear more of Charlie's story and find out how Vitatech Healing is helping others with ADHD, fibromyalgia, autism, and more. Plus, find radio-only savings by clicking the link at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Wild birds in Australia have been heard swearing and having learned these words from escaped pets, they think, or maybe tourists.
From escaped pets? From
Yeah.
like other birds?
Other birds that, got away or maybe were let go in the wild. I don't know. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In Victorian times, sausages were called bags of mystery. Like a bag of mystery?
I'm going to start calling them that.
I don't want any of that. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A caterpillar has up to 4,000 muscles. Yeah, so they don't have a six-pack. They have a
Wow.
4,000 pack. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
On land, a tortoise can move as fast as 1 mile per hour.
That's fast.
That's a super speedy tortoise. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Recycling 1 ton of paper saves 17 trees. So that's good. Do that. That's a thing we should all aspire to. Several fun facts. Now you know. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
It's rad. It's bad. It's 80s. The coolest rock vacation of the summer. Retromania Live. August 21st through 25th, the Mansion Theater. Starring Vince Neil, Bobby Brown, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Night Ranger, Tom Kiefer, Tiffany, Lou Graham, Pauly Shore, celebrity autograph signing, costume parties, and more. Single day tickets on sale now at RetromaniaLive.com. Produced by Branson Star Entertainment.
Time now for the Mint Mobile question of the day. It comes your way courtesy of Mintervention.com. The average woman will do this nearly 10 times today, Heidi. What is it? I bet you do it less than the average person, the average woman.
Okay, then I don't know. I was going to say check her
Reapply
phone.
lipstick or lip gloss.
Oh, yeah, I don't wear a lot of
every once in a
makeup.
while I see you wear that, and I'm like, ooh, what's the fancy occasion here? I'm like, oh, we've got company, people coming that are not me. I get it. Mint Mobile question of the day comes your way courtesy of Mintervention.com. Charlie has Parkinson's. He started wearing a bracelet from Vitatech Healing, and he's noticed a difference, even while sleeping.
Once I got in bed, I couldn't roll over. I couldn't move. I was just whatever position I was in, just a chore to get out of bed. And now everything is so much better.
Click on radiosavings.com to hear more of Charlie's story and find out how Vitatech Healing is helping others with ADHD, fibromyalgia, autism, and more. Plus, find radio-only savings by clicking the link at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com. Now, some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. The latest vacation trend is not knowing where you're going until you get to the airport. It's called mystery travel.
That would drive me insane.
Yeah, it involves easygoing people outsourcing the job of planning their getaway to a travel agent who looks after booking flights, restaurant reservations, and other details without their knowledge. All of the vacationer needs to do is provide a few broad location preferences and show up at the airport on time. The travel agent then gives them a few tips about what to pack, and there's a sealed envelope to be opened upon arrival at the airport where they finally discover where they're going. So, yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, especially if, I'm sure that it's not cheap. So it would be one thing if you were getting a discount because, okay, you're going to
I'd go on a free mystery vacation.
Oh, for sure. That would be a blast.
Guess
but
where
I
you're
don't,
going?
I don't want to pay for it.
Beirut again? All right, weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
John and Heidi.
Time now for the list brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com. Don't know if I'm going to get through all of these today. We'll try to, though. A recent social media trend is for people to share their so-called toxic traits online. So here are some of them. It says, my toxic trait is I always have to eat exactly what I have a taste for. So like if they're hungry for a certain thing, they have to have that certain thing. Another toxic trait says, I could be a surgeon after watching 9 seasons of Grey's Anatomy. Probably not. Another one is that if I came across a bear in the wilderness, I think I would really appreciate a little head scratch. You'd probably have your head ripped off. My toxic trait is if they opened a Jurassic Park, I would probably still go.
Yeah.
Toxic trait is texting my husband for a different room, then walking over and say, hey, did you get my text? Toxic trait is I don't ever return or exchange clothing that don't fit. I'm just going to have the wrong size in my closet for all eternity. Another one is
I've got a lot of those.
Toxic trait is assuming every annoying person is a Virgo. Wow, that's not nice. And my last one on here is my toxic trait is I think I can just cut my own hair. Well, I've done that. And, well, this is what it looks like. That is the list. I made it through all of them. Brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com.
Can your IRA or 401k stand up to the next financial crisis? By allocating a percentage of your retirement into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns. Safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Protect your retirement today with a simple phone call and receive your free gold and silver guide. Call 1-800-200-GOLD or visit genesisgoldira.com.
Time now for the quote of the day. It comes your way, courtesy of radiosavings.com. Our quote today is from William Somerset Maugham. It's a fun name to say. And William says, we know our friends by their defects rather than by their merits. Oh, it's probably true. It's like, hey, Mike, he's going to be late. He's going to be 5 minutes late to get here. I like hanging out with Mike, but he's always 5 minutes late.
Yeah,
and when I say
suppose.
Mike, I mean
that.
John. It's me I'm talking about.
I get that.
All right, quote of the day comes your way, courtesy of radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. It's an amazing story. Here's the headline, proud of you. A brave 11-year-old girl saves a 6-year-old from a kidnapper. Story comes your way courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com. This comes from Kent, Washington. A remarkable display of courage when an 11-year-old stops a potential kidnapping of a 6-year-old neighbor.
Wow.
The heroic actions of these young girls have garnered praise from the police department and the community and now the nation in general. Incident happened at East Hill apartment complex, 8:18 p.m. Police department reported an ice cream truck had attracted numerous children to an area when 3 preteens noticed that an adult man gripped the wrist of their young neighbor. The 6-year-old's brother called for her, but she was unable to break free. The girls observed her fear and heard her pleading with the man to let her go, prompting them to follow and intervene.
Oh my
Keep in mind,
gosh.
these girls are 11. The girl that was being kidnapped was 6. Without hesitation, the girls began recording the situation on their phones and confronted the man, questioning his relationship despite the man's attempt to deceive them. The young girl shook her head, signaling that he was lying. As the confrontation escalated, the man put the child down and attempted to flee. The girls quickly took the child back to her apartment, ensuring her safety. The police officers were dispatched to the scene following a 911 call. They provided an excellent description of the suspect, and they arrived and apprehended the man.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
that's amazing.
And it says, thanks to the girls' intervention. I don't know what I was saying there. Thanks to the girls' intervention, the 6-year-old is now safe at home, and the police expressed their admiration for the young heroes in a public statement.
Absolutely, that is incredible.
So I don't know what this guy thought he was doing. I don't understand why anybody would think that that would be okay. I'm certain that they didn't have good intentions. It's not like they were like, "Well, let me help you find your parents," because the girl wasn't looking for help. He just grabs her by the wrist and tries to walk away with her. Yeah, that happened. How crazy is that?
Oh, man.
So kudos to the kiddos who pulled out their phones and started recording. And again, a big thank you to law enforcement who got there right away and apprehended the dude. So
absolutely.
What a weird
that
story.
Could have been horrible.
Absolutely could have been. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.